Good evening. I'm Stuart Watchman, ZL2TW from Blenheim.
And I'm Debby Morgan, ZL2DL in Upper Hutt.
I'm Rosemary Boshier, ZL1RO in Auckland.
And I'm Stephen McNeill, ZL4HG from Christchurch.
And I'm Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF in Nelson. And together we bring you the NZART official broadcast for May 2019. Good evening everyone and welcome to the May official broadcast. Leading tonight's broadcast, presidential comment. Reporting from Blenheim for the final time, here's our NZART President, Stuart Watchman, ZL2TW. Stuart?
Hi Jim, and good evening to all members and prospective members listening tonight. I'm pleased to let you know that Council has appointed a new AREC National Director, Don Robertson, ZL2TYR. Don is a fairly new member of the AREC National Management Team and is quite involved with LANZAR nationally and AREC in the Wellington region. I know that Don will do an excellent job of leading AREC into the future. Don will be chairing the AREC Forum on Saturday at the conference weekend in New Plymouth. If you're coming, it will be a good opportunity to meet him. I would like to thank Jeff Chapman, ZL3PX, for ably acting as National Director since Jeff Sayer's retirement over a year ago. Debby at headquarters has been very busy with the current membership promotion, and we'll have more on this later in this official broadcast. I have received quite a few heartening emails from amateurs choosing to take up the promotion. Others have declined for various reasons, but one story was a bit unfortunate. I will not say where this amateur lives, but he has found the hobby a bit less than welcoming, as his calls and local repeaters usually go unanswered. This does come up from time to time, and it's a timely reminder for all of us. If you hear someone new on the air, or indeed not so new, give them a call. After all, that is a large part of what we are all about. As Mark Gooding, ZL2UFI, will be taking over from me as President at the conclusion of the AGM in New Plymouth, this will be my last official broadcast as President. First, I would like to thank you, Jim, for your hard work in editing your recordings of me into something suitable to broadcast. I've never managed to read all my copy without a mistake of some sort, often with the odd expletive. I just hope the blooper tape does not surface someday. Thank you to all the councillors that have supported me, and of course Phil Holliday, ZL3PAH, for standing in for me from time to time and as sound advice as Vice President. Then there are all of our talented and hard-working officers who do so much for our members in so many ways. Debby Morgan, ZL2DL, our Business Manager and General Secretary at our Upper Hutt headquarters, has been a real rock, keeping the association running and handling so many member inquiries. It was a pleasure last year to acknowledge her 20 years of service. Debby's husband Steve needs to mention. He has been a big help at so many of our annual conference weekends and performed many odd jobs at headquarters. Evan Sayer, our treasurer, has been a real asset, keeping a very careful eye on our finances and has only been a phone call away when I have needed to work out the financial impact of any new policy or spend. I would also like to mention the late Jerry Kilpatrick, ZL1BBS, who was once our honorary solicitor. I learned a lot from Jerry. His advice has served me well. Finally, I would like to thank all of our members for their support in many ways, as well as digging into their pockets to keep our association viable. It has been an interesting and at times exciting journey over the last 4 years, but it's time for me to move on. I know that Mark will do an excellent job in the role of President of NZART, a proud institution that has represented all radio amateurs in New Zealand since 1926. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Stuart. The NZART President, Stuart Watchman, ZL2TW. NZART Conference, hosted by New Plymouth Branch 27, is to be held next weekend, the 1st and 2nd of June, at the Quality Plymouth Hotel, Courtney Street in downtown New Plymouth. Conference registrations are still open, but do remember a $50 late fee now applies. To register, please go to conference.zl2ab.com. The conference registration desk opens for attendees at 6 p.m. on Friday night and again at 8 a.m. on the Saturday morning. Conference starts with the opening ceremony 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Now, if you're travelling from the north, you can contact the conference information team on the 720 VHF repeater from about Mokar. If you're travelling from the south, you can access the 705 linked to 720 repeater from Partayan north to about Midhurst, then access the 720 repeater direct. A conference team representative will be monitoring the repeaters from Thursday onwards and, of course, the national system. A few words tonight on the Conference Alternative Programme from organiser Nairi ZL2UJT. The programme commences Saturday morning at 11 a.m. in the Oranger restaurant at the Plymouth, where a master chef will be creating a special dish for participants. At 1:30 p.m, the group head on a bus tour up Mount Taranaki. Participants are advised to wear warm clothes. It's the Mountain Cafe for afternoon tea and a chance to look at all the information on Mount Taranaki. At 4 p.m, the bus departs for the Plymouth Hotel. Sunday morning, WARO has its AGM at 8:30 through 10. After morning tea, it's all aboard a bus for a winery tour. After a shared lunch at the winery, the bus departs to Margaret Scott, painter, to view her wonderful paintings and garden. The bus then departs for a tour of New Plymouth sites and then returns home to the Plymouth Hotel. Yes, it's a great time coming up at NZART Conference 2019 in New Plymouth next weekend. Onwards to Upper Hutt we go, and it's a very good evening to our NZART Business Manager, Debby Morgan, ZL2DL.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. Only 1 week to go before the annual conference in New Plymouth. Such a busy time of year, especially when we have just undertaken a membership promotion at the same time. On this note, I am pleased to advise that we are receiving quite a steady number of lapsed member applications, with a few new ones as well. More on exact numbers will be made known in due course. Regrettably, at the time of preparing my report, I have received 210 returned letters as the address details are incorrect in the Radio Spectrum Management Register. Please remember that you need to advise RSM within 30 days of moving that your address has changed. Failure to do so could in the future see your call sign be removed from their records. A further 23 silent keys have also been advised by their spouses. So again, I urge you all to let me know when you hear of a fellow amateur passing. We can request RSM to remove these names from their register if we can provide sufficient evidence such as a death notice, but preferably we need a family member to request this in writing. Lastly, on the topic of the membership promotion, anyone whose details are withheld in SMART will not have received a letter of invitation to join, for obvious reasons. If you would like to join and have not received this letter, please contact me at NZART HQ by email to nzart@nzart.org.nz. Your details will still remain confidential, but you can still enjoy the benefits of belonging to NZART. Your help in keeping these records up to date within the register at Radio Spectrum is invaluable, as it also means the annual NZART call book, when produced, will have the latest up-to-date information. Well, I hope to see as many of you as possible in New Plymouth. That's all from me, Jim. Back to you.
Thank you, Debbie. Debby Morgan, ZL2DL, NZART's Business Manager. The Whangarei Amateur Radio Club are holding a used equipment sale at their club rooms, Heritage Park, Manu, Whangarei, on Saturday, 27th of July. The venue will be open for buyers at 10:30 a.m. The Auckland VHF group will be attending with its trading table and lots of goodies. There'll be a sausage sizzle, tea, coffee, cakes and sausage rolls available throughout the morning. Table bookings to Dave's at 1DMA 027 472 5519 027 472 5519 or email alpha.secure@extra.co.nz alpha.secure@extra.co.nz. Also, on sale day, there'll be a build-your-own hamburger for $5, a quiz and a rag chew, commencing 5:30 p.m. at the club rooms. Pay on the night, but notice of your intention to attend would be appreciated for catering purposes. RSVP to Rose, ZL1WRD, 09 436 0147, 09 436 0147. That's the Whangarei Amateur Radio Club Equipment Sale, Saturday the 27th of July. Now to catch up on amateur radio news from around the world, we join the team at the Amateur Radio Newsline.
As Newsline went to production, the next big amateur radio conference was getting underway in Sydney, Australia. Organizers announced 3 more scheduled presentations down under. One was to be a comprehensive talk about summits on the air by Andrew Davis, VK1DA, a leader in the Australia SOTA program. Later, Rob Dolphin, VK2DIO, was to discuss All-Star linking, and Alex Stuart, VK2PSF, was to present an overview of digital mode hotspots. Tower safety. It's something no ham or radio technician can take for granted. Christian Kudnick, K0STH, reports on the latest tragedy at a tower.
Federal workplace safety investigators and local police are looking into what led to one man's fatal fall from a radio tower in southwest Mississippi on May 16th. According to local news reports, Christopher Chase Hawkins of Caraway, Arkansas, was working with another tower technician when he apparently slipped and fell from the top of the 280-foot structure. The Lincoln County coroner told the Daily Leader newspaper that the 2 workers were doing regular maintenance, which involved changing out lightning rods. The coroner said that for some unknown reason, Hawkins unhooked his safety harness and slipped. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Christopher Chase Hawkins was 34 and a father of 2. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Christian Kudnick, K0STH.
In Australia, amateurs have got their eye on 5 megahertz operations and are hoping to move things forward. Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF, picks up the story.
The Australian Communications and Media Authority has been asked by a National Amateur Radio Society to permit ham activity on the 60-metre band on a trial basis. The Radio Amateur Society of Australia has written the regulator asking for a channelized arrangement to be authorised similar to the use of the 5 MHz amateur band granted in New Zealand, Europe and the United States. The group is hoping hams will receive the OK to operate on the existing commercial allocations in Australia, 5351, 5355 and 5360 kHz. The group's president, Glenn Dunstan, VK4DU, said RASA would like the regulator to approve the use of upper sideband with a maximum bandwidth of 2.8 kHz. The group has also asked for a trial digital allocation in the segment of the band between 5363 and 5365 kHz. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Neil Rapp, WB9VPG in Bloomington, Indiana, saying 7-3, and as always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2019, all rights reserved.
And as always, we say thank you to Newsline for the use of their copyright material. A reminder that the Cordia National Systems Award is running in conjunction with New Plymouth Conference and featuring active New Zealand fire stations. The award concludes on Saturday the 15th of June. See the details on page 16 of your March-April break-in and on the New Plymouth Conference website, conference.zl2ab.com. It's time now for WARO News, and it's a very good evening to Rosemary, ZL1RO.
Thanks, Jim, and hello, everyone. The WARO annual general meeting will be held on Sunday the 2nd of June at the NZART conference venue, the Plymouth Hotel, starting at 8:30 a.m. sharp. Apologies for non-attendance can be lodged during the Monday night WARO 80-metre net or emailed to any WARO executive member. I've been asked to mention by conference organisers that there are definitely no planned walks in the alternative program. Most of you will have heard that Celia, ZL1ALK, became a silent key recently. Celia was a foundation member of WARO and has been continuously active on the air ever since. Those who have a copy of the WARO 50th birthday book can read about the life of Celia, ZL1ALK, written in her own words. But I want to tell you some things she didn't write about herself. She spent a great deal of time being involved with and promoting WARO over the past 57 years. She was already licensed in 1961 when, with some other WAOs, got together at NZART conference to discuss forming a WAO club, which in 1962 became WARO. She was president of WARO from 1967 to 1969, and 1987 to 1989, and Vice President in 1986. Next came a stint as Secretary, 1974 to 76, then Secretary 1991 to 93, and again in 1998. In 1995, she received a WARO Certificate of Merit marking 25 years' service as WARO Librarian. Life membership of WARO was given to her in 1987, and in 1997 she was WARO Amateur of the Year and awarded the Myrtle Erland Rose Bowl for outstanding services to WARO. NZART honoured Celia with life membership in 2018, acknowledging her work for amateur radio over many years. She took part in contests, especially the Thelma Super 80-metre contest, the Illawarra contest, and the Auckland Powder Puff contest, and was a winner on occasion. Celia was Sponsorship Secretary for WARO for many years, liaising with other DXYL organisations to arrange friendly contacts between ZLYLs and DXYLs and membership of DX organisations. Celia sponsored many DXYLs into WARO and reciprocally belonged to Australian Alara, Canadian Clara, Britain's Bilara, USA YLRL, and Japan's YL organisation. Sponsorship was something she took seriously and was known to remind members of their obligation to send the WARO magazine to overseas members if they were late doing so. Celia regularly checked into the Auckland Sunday night YL net, and it's only in recent months that she was not able to join us. She had other interests as well as amateur radio. Family always came first for Celia, and we often heard about them on the air. Her church was important too, and she was involved in a number of church activities in and around her local community. A keen singer and member of the local choral society, she loved going to concerts, whether as a singer or audience member. Farewell, dear Celia ZL1ALK. Rest in peace. That's all from WARO, Jim. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Rosemary. Reporting for WARO, Rosemary Boshier, ZL1RO. Finally, in tonight's official broadcast lineup, it's Branch News. Here's Stephen McNeill, ZL4HG.
Thanks, Jim, and good evening, everyone. So we start from Whangarei Amateur Radio Club, NZART Branch 28. The next meeting is on the 5th of June, starting 7:30pm in the club rooms. This will be a show and tell, a report on NZART conference, followed by a guest speaker and supper. From the Western Suburbs Radio Club Branch 03, where there are informal meetings on Wednesday the 29th of May and the 5th and 19th of June at the club rooms at 9:30am. And there will be a midwinter dinner at the Brick Lane restaurant at 5 Clark Street in New Lynn on Wednesday the 12th of June, starting 7:30pm. Hutt Valley Branch 18 has its next meeting in the club rooms in the Philip Evans Reserve off Burt Street in Waterloo in Lower Hutt on Monday, June the 10th. This will be the club's annual general meeting, and it will be followed by a special supper. From Marlborough Amateur Radio Club, Branch 22 NZART. The next meeting will be on Thursday the 13th of June at the EOC, starting 7:30pm. Ken Menzies will give a talk on enclosure design and construction. And finally to Otago Branch 30, where meetings are held in the club rooms on McAndrew Road on Wednesday evenings, starting 7:30pm. On the 5th, Terry, ZL4TAE, talks about solar power, solar controllers, batteries and systems for your home, your crib or shack. And on the 26th, Graham, ZL2CHAR, gives a talk on Guillermo Marconi. Well, I think that's how his name is pronounced. Anyway, that's all from me. Back to you, Jim.
And thank you, Stephen. Stephen McNeill, ZL4HG, reporting from Christchurch. The next official broadcast of NZART will be made by ZL6A at 8pm on Sunday, the 30th of June. This is ZL6A, headquarters station of the New Zealand Association of Radio Transmitters, concluding the official broadcast for May 2019. Good night, everyone. Good night now.